What if everything happening around us isn't just random natural events anymore, but a series of urgent signals? What if we don't have as much time left as we think? Snow suddenly blankets the Sahara white. The ground ripples like it's breathing. Orange lights flare across the sky in India. Clouds twist into a snake shape in Alaska. SpaceX satellite trains slice through the night like a silent army. The fire pit in the Karakum Desert screams without stopping. The ocean glows bright. Mysterious light pillars in Bountiful and strange structures hanging in the sky over Oklahoma City leave people shaken. 10 phenomena, 10 shocks to our understanding. 10 times nature bends the rules we know and forces humanity to stop. It's all coming fast and furious. These aren't separate incidents anymore. They're coming together into one picture that makes the future feel more fragile and uncertain than ever. Have you felt uneasy looking up at the sky lately? If these signs aren't random, then where are they leading us? Let's walk through each one together, because behind every strange sight, there's a scary empty space waiting to be filled. And if you still have faith, leave a prayer in the comments as a reply before it's too late. Now, let's get started right away with 1. White snow covers the Sahara dunes. It's really surprising. The hottest desert on Earth just put on a cold white coat overnight, like the whole world got flipped upside down. We look at that scene and feel like all the normal rules we know are starting to crack. Right at the edge of the Sahara, where the heat used to burn everything alive, snow suddenly poured down thick and heavy, covering those bright golden sand dunes that only knew wind and fire. In the town of Ain Sefra, Algeria, the place they call the gateway to the desert, summer temperatures usually hit around 99 degrees Fahrenheit, and yearly rain is just a few inches. But this time, a layer of snow, up to 16 inches, stuck tight on top of sand dunes hundreds of feet high, turning the dry, empty space into a pure, white, dreamlike picture. Seeing local people sliding on the frozen sand makes it all feel unreal, like something from a strange dream. Joel 2:33-1 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and columns of smoke. The sun will turn dark, the moon will turn blood red, before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes." When the desert's fire meets ice from the sky, that flip doesn't seem like just weather. It feels more like the first signal being turned on. Cold air from Europe moved down, mixed with moisture from the Mediterranean, and created a rare snowstorm that only happens a few times every 100 years. But that very rarity makes the scene even more mysterious, like the desert is coming alive under a ghostly white blanket. Acts 2:19 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and columns of smoke." Fire and snow in the same picture. Isn't that the clash of two opposites? A lot of folks say this is just an unusual climate swing, a rare cold spell. But when the driest place on Earth gets buried in ice, that explanation starts to feel pretty weak. Luke 21:25 reminds us, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea." When nature turns upside down, the fate of mankind starts to shake too. This isn't just a pretty picture to share. It's the first gentle touch telling us the old order might be slipping off its track. Hot turning cold, dry turning wet, desert turning into a land of ice. All of it feels like a reminder that a bigger chain of changes may have just started. And if snow in the Sahara is only the opening shot, what happens when the very ground under our feet begins to move like waves? 2. The ground is rippling like it's breathing. You know, the ground under our feet isn't staying still anymore. Those bricks that seem so solid suddenly start waving like ocean waves, rising and falling right in front of people walking by. It's a really strange sight that's hard to wrap your head around. This isn't just some curious video going around on social media. It's something that makes anyone who sees it feel a chill and wonder what's really happening under that cold concrete. This has been spotted in several cities, places where the brick-paved or concrete roads are supposed to stand for stability and modern life. But in a moment, the whole surface starts moving up and down a few inches, bending like there's some huge thing shifting underneath. One guy walking along just freezes when the road ahead of him starts heaving like water. The bricks don't crack or break. They all move together, as if some invisible force is guiding them. Some folks say it's trapped groundwater, freezing and thawing, pushing up from below. Others think it's just a heat mirage. But what a lot of people can't explain is how it happens in regular patterns, with waves running dozens of feet long, like the ground is breathing on purpose. And right here, Bible verses start ringing like a warning bell. In the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 30, it says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and columns of smoke." The signs aren't just up high. They're on the earth, right where we trust things to be solid. When the ground moves without a big earthquake, when bricks wave like water, isn't the foundation of our world starting to shake? People are divided. Those without faith try to calm everyone with scientific ideas, calling it a rare geological event. But those who trust fully in the Lord see a clear warning that peaceful times are coming to an end. Fear starts spreading among folks who have no anchor, because it feels like something unseen is moving right under their feet, and they can't control it. In Acts chapter 2, verse 19, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and columns of smoke." Are these signs on the earth the awakening of things locked away long ago? Legends talk about fallen angels chained in the deep, waiting for release, and when the trumpet sounds, the judgment begins. Matthew chapter 24, verse 29 warns, "Immediately after those days of trouble, the sun will go dark, the moon won't give light, stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken." If even the powers of the heavens can shake, why would the ground under us be safe? When rocks and earth move like ocean waves, it's not just physical motion, it's a reminder that the normal order is starting to wobble. This isn't nature playing tricks. It's a wake-up call that God is shaking the foundations of the earth, making people look at their faith and get ready for the big moment. And if the ground under our feet is already starting to wave, how much more will that second sun appearing in the sky over India make us tremble? 3. A warm orange glow mysteriously opened up across the sky over India. A second sun suddenly hung in the Indian sky, burning bright in a strange orange color, like some invisible gate had just cracked open. The light didn't flash and fade. It moved slowly, almost on purpose, making the air feel heavy and almost holy in a way that's hard to describe. When we look up at the sky, we think we know so well. That sense of safety seems to be cracking, and something's changing every day. In the Saurashtra region, where folks are used to odd sky events, an orange ball of light appeared near the horizon, floating at a height that's hard to pin down. It shone so strong it turned the night into a fake twilight. Then, from that single spot, dozens more lights showed up, sometimes 30 or 40 of them lined up in a row, stretching hundreds of feet across the dark sky. The sight felt both orderly and wild, like a silent parade of heavenly bodies moving into our space. The lights didn't streak faintly like shooting stars or zip by fast. They hung there long enough to plant real unease in people's hearts. Some witnesses called it a copy of the sun, like another version of our sun challenging the rules of nature. Right here, those haunting Bible words come to mind. In Luke chapter 21, verse 25, it says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea." Signs in the sky aren't some far-off figure of speech anymore. They seem to be showing up plain as day. Still, opinions split fast. Experts say it could be satellites reflecting light, some atmospheric effect, or strings of commercial satellites passing low overhead. Others wonder about UFOs or secret tech tests. Looking at it fairly, our atmosphere and modern tech can definitely create weird light shows. But you can't ignore the shared shiver this caused. Like the quiet sky has finally started to speak. Joel chapter 2, verse 31 says, "The sun will be turned to darkness, and the moon to blood, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." End quote. When that bright orange light appeared, many thought of the moon turning blood red, or the sun changing shape, like markers of a big shift coming. Then Revelation chapter 6, verse 12 warns, "When the Lamb opened the sixth seal, there was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red." Those old words aren't being shouted in panic now, but quietly thought about as we watch what's happening in our modern sky. Maybe this is just a rare natural event, or maybe human tech made it. But for those who trust the prophecies, the signs in the sky aren't silent anymore, and the heavenly gate seems wider open than ever. If the ground is shaking and a second sun shows up in the sky, maybe the Lord's return isn't as far off as we used to think. Do you believe this could really be a sign in the sky, a warning of cosmic chaos in the last days? And if that orange light is just the beginning, how much more will that giant snake-shaped cloud over Alaska make our blood run cold? 4. A strange cloud snake floating in the sky. A huge snake-shaped cloud suddenly twisted and turned across the Alaska sky, stretching for miles like some creature crawling through the freezing upper air. The sight didn't just shock people, it left many frozen in place, realizing our familiar sky can hold things way beyond what we ever imagined. Just when we think clouds are nothing but mindless water vapor, that image showed up like a strong wake-up call. Up in the Lazy Mountain area, where the cold weather and strong winds often make weird cloud shapes, a husband and wife caught the moment on camera. A hazy cloud that looked exactly like a giant snake. It stretched for miles, moving in a smooth, flowing way, leaving behind a thin trail of smoke like something alive was deliberately passing by. Its spiral path changed minute by minute, coiling up tight, then stretching out again like it was breathing, which made anyone watching feel amazed and very small in the face of the sky's mystery. Weather experts jumped in right away. They said it was probably rocket exhaust from a test launch, or clouds getting torn apart by strong high-altitude winds. They explained that when smoke hits cold air, it can form those long, twisting spirals that go hundreds of feet. Still, there's one thing they haven't fully explained yet: the amazingly smooth, rhythmic, almost symmetrical way that snake curved and moved. Some sharp-eyed folks noticed its motion didn't always match the steady wind direction in the area. Even with all those solid scientific explanations, you can't deny the holy feeling that came over the moment. In the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 19, it says, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood and fire and clouds of smoke." When a giant pillar of smoke twists through the night sky, those ancient words suddenly feel very alive. Like the Bible isn't just talking about the past, but speaking to right now. This event keeps people thinking, especially when you put it next to the warning in Luke chapter 21, verse 25. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. Signs in the sky aren't just lights or eclipses. They can be shapes that make us look up and wonder what deeper meaning is behind them. And then Matthew chapter 24, verse 30 says it clear. "At that time, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the peoples of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." If the Son of Man comes on the clouds, then clouds aren't just clouds. Science can explain how they form, but faith opens up a deeper layer where every strange cloud becomes a reminder of the Creator's presence and power. So that snake-shaped cloud isn't simply a rare weather event. It's a chance for us to stir up our faith and look at the sky with fresh eyes. God can use the clouds themselves to show His strength and warn us about big changes coming close. And if that cloud snake already shook us up, how much more will SpaceX's eerie string of satellites stretching across the sky make you question your own eyes? 5. Mysterious bright dots lined up across the night sky. A string of flashing lights moves in a perfect straight line across the dark night sky, like silent souls marching toward an invisible gate. The sight lasts only a few minutes, but it's long enough to make us stop and wonder if the familiar sky still belongs to us humans anymore. When you look up in the quiet darkness and see stars all moving together at the same time, the line between what's natural and what's supernatural starts to blur. Around the world, especially in dark places far from city lights, dozens of tiny bright points show up in perfect rows. They're flying about 342 miles above Earth, catching the last bit of sunlight from over the horizon and turning into a string of lights like pearls hanging in empty space. At first, they stay close together like a ghostly train. Then they slowly spread apart, but they keep moving side by side so the sky looks like it's being taken over. A lot of folks realize these are the Starlink satellites from SpaceX sent up to bring internet to the whole world. Science says that after they leave the rocket, they travel in a line before spreading out to their own orbits. But human feelings aren't so easily convinced by technical facts. The sight looks too much like a line of angels, too much like spirits on their way somewhere, leaving many people amazed and uneasy at the same time. That's why opinions split in different directions. Some folks get excited about the tech achievement and see it as a huge step forward for humankind. Others worry about people interfering more and more with the sky, which used to feel sacred. A few even call them UFOs or something never seen before, still holding on to ideas about aliens. In the middle of all that debate, the Bible speaks up like an old but powerful reminder. The book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 30 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke." When strange lines of light appear in the sky, those words seem to echo in the minds of people who believe everything up there means more than just physics. Then, Revelation, chapter 6, verse 13, says, "The stars in the sky fell to the earth, like unripe figs shaken loose by a strong wind." The picture of stars moving, dropping down, and disappearing over the horizon gives a feeling that the order of the universe is changing. And Acts chapter 2 verse 19 keeps stressing, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke." Could even man-made technology become a sign pointing to something much bigger? These aren't just satellites, and not simply reflected light. To many people, they look like angels lined up in formation, a warning that the day of the Lord's return isn't far off. And if we've already seen armies of light from the high sky, then when you look down at that huge sinkhole in Iceland, where a giant apple is opening its mouth ready to swallow everything, how much more will you feel this world shaking? 6. Giant crater in Iceland's southern highlands. In the windy highlands of Iceland, a huge crater appears like a sacred mark carved into the earth, shaped like a burning apple against the black lava background. The sight doesn't just amaze your eyes, it makes you feel like you're standing right on the edge between our world and something much deeper. When you look down into that endless drop, thoughts about the hidden power under Earth's surface hit you harder than ever. Down in southern Iceland's highlands, the Rauðaskál crater sits about 4 miles from Hekla volcano, in a place famous for its wild geological action. From above, it's almost a perfect circle, hundreds of feet across, with edges mixing red and green colors that stand out sharp against the dark basalt rock. That strong color contrast makes the whole thing look like a giant apple sliced open, showing its bright, mysterious core. Wind blowing through the crater makes a low, rumbling sound, echoing like a breath from deep underground. Layers of sediment and hardened lava stack up in perfect circles, feeling like an ancient gate slowly opening layer by layer. The area around is almost completely quiet, just the colors and shapes talking to the silver-gray sky, making it hard to tell what's pure natural beauty and what's something more holy. Scientists explain it as the result of volcanic activity and the collapse of a magma chamber below the surface. Eruptions, cooling, and mineral oxidation created those special red and green shades. That explanation makes good geological sense. Still, the almost perfectly round and balanced shape leaves some folks wondering, is it all just chance? Or is there a message carved into the rock by the hand of the Creator? Joel chapter 2, verse 30 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke." When the red of the crater mixes with the dark lava, those images of blood and fire from the Bible suddenly feel very real. The ground isn't just dead rock anymore. It's a place holding power that can shake everything. Acts chapter 2, verse 19 goes on, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke." That sign on the earth could be these deep holes opening up in the highlands, reminding people of their limits. And in Revelation chapter 6, verse 12, when the Lamb opened the sixth seal, there was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth. The moon became red as blood. Those earth movements and deep red colors bring to mind a world stepping into a big time of change. So this crater isn't just made by magma and time, it's a symbol that wakes up faith. Science can explain how it formed, but the deeper meaning comes from each person's own reflection. When the earth opens up like this, it might be a reminder that all ultimate power is still in God's hands, the one who controls both fire and stone. From that apple in the frozen highlands, think about the eternal flames burning in a dry desert. Do we have the courage to keep looking straight at the signs that are starting to show? 7. The mystery fire pit in the desert. Right in the middle of a wild, empty desert, there's a huge pit that's been burning with bright flames day and night, like the gates of hell left wide open, sending hot air up into the dark sky. The firelight hits the faces of anyone standing close by with a glow that's both beautiful and scary, making you wonder, is this just an old industrial accident, or some kind of warning that's been smoldering quietly for years? Out in the Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan, the Darvaza gas crater is about 230 feet wide and nearly 100 feet deep. It forms a perfect circle in the endless sand and dust. Inside, the flames shoot up several feet high, dancing non-stop like red-orange snake tongues licking at the darkness. The sound isn't a loud boom, it's a steady, even hiss, like a jet engine running all the time, giving you the feeling of some hidden power that never stops. At night, the whole scene feels more unreal than ever. The fire burns so clean, with almost no smoke, that the pit looks like a living lake of lava sitting right there in the desert. Small animals get drawn to the light and jump in without thinking, which adds to the sense of a living hell, where the line between nature and something spiritual just disappears. The fact that the fire has kept going for decades makes anyone who sees it stop and think about what it really means. Scientists say it happened because of a drilling accident back in the 1970s. The ground collapsed and uncovered a big pocket of methane gas, so they decided to burn it off to keep the poisonous gas from spreading. That explanation makes sense. Still, the question remains, why has the fire lasted so long in such harsh desert conditions, almost like some invisible source keeps feeding it? In the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 30, it says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke." When you look at that fire pit, the fire in the Bible doesn't feel like some far-off figure of speech anymore. It becomes something real you can see right in front of you. Then in Acts chapter 2, verse 19, it repeats, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke." That sign on the earth could very well be this endless flame burning in the sand. The warning gets even stronger in Revelation chapter 20, verse 14. Death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is the second death. The lake of fire is described as the final judgment for sin and rebellion against God. Standing in front of that non-stop burning pit, it feels like a reminder of the ultimate price if people ignore the call to turn back. So, this fire pit in the desert isn't just a geological oddity or a gas drilling mishap. It's a living picture of judgment and a wake-up call. The flames keep burning day after day like a quiet whisper about choices and consequences. And out from this scorching sand, the sparkling ocean on the distant horizon promises something wonderful. But could that light be hiding something else, waiting to be revealed? 8. Glowing beaches at night. When night falls over warm seas like the California coast or the Maldives, the water suddenly turns into a sheet of glowing green silk, gentle and sacred, like the breath of the Creator. Have you ever pictured just lightly touching the dark water, and the whole ocean lights up like the Milky Way falling to earth? That light isn't blinding or fierce. It's soft and dreamy, like a quiet whisper meant for searching hearts. As gentle waves lap the shore, millions of glowing plankton all react together, sending out sparkling blue light that forms long streaks like shooting stars sliding across the water. Every step on wet sand, every stroke of the paddle sparks little glows, turning the sea into a mysterious light dance floor. The beauty is breathtaking, but fragile too, just a shift in water temperature or current, and the magic can vanish without a trace. Luke chapter 21, verse 25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea." When the sea doesn't just roar in storms, but glows quietly in the calm night, could that be another sign between heaven and earth? That green light doesn't make the sea fiercer, but it stirs people's hearts because it breaks every usual pattern of darkness and light. Many people say it's just a simple biological response, a defense mechanism of tiny drifting creatures when disturbed, and science explains it in clear terms. But why is this showing up more and more in seas all over the world, as if an unseen hand is touching the water everywhere at once? That global timing makes quite a few folks wonder if the light is purely chemical, or perhaps a deeper hint. Joel chapter 2 verse 30 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke." The green light isn't blood or fire, but it's still a wonder here on earth, right in the heart of the ocean. And in Acts chapter 2 verse 20, "The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and glorious day of the Lord comes." When the familiar rules of sky and sea seem to shift, the light doesn't just shine on the water, it shines into the darkness inside people's hearts. The glowing sea will fade away, but the message about fragile life and creative power remains, like a soft call to faith in a doubting age. Maybe God is using these natural wonders to remind us that true light isn't only in plankton, but in hearts turned toward Him. And if the ocean can light up in the dark, then the mysterious lights soon to appear in Utah's sky might make you wonder, what other signs from heaven are still waiting to be understood? 9. Strange light hidden in the clouds over Bountiful, Utah. In the quiet night sky over Bountiful, Utah, a golden orange beam of light suddenly appeared and faded within the clouds. It stretched out like a long slash across the darkness, making people shiver and wonder, is this just clouds reflecting city lights, or is something up there trying to hide? The light didn't flash and disappear. It hung there, moving slowly, like it had a purpose, raising the question, are we being watched? Do you really believe everything in the sky can be explained by the weather? The video capturing it shows a vertical beam deep inside a thin layer of clouds, blending so well that it's hard to tell where the light ends and the mist begins, as if the sky itself is hiding a secret. It didn't blink like an airplane, didn't streak by like a meteor. It drifted, slow and steady, giving the feeling that it had awareness. That movement split the community into two groups: natural event, or a UFO disguised among the clouds, and if it's not clouds, then who or what is behind this light? Matthew chapter 24 verse 30 says, "Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all the peoples of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." When the light shows up right inside the clouds, not out in empty space, the question hits deeper. Are all these signs in the sky really meaningless? Or are they getting people's minds ready for something much bigger? Not every light is a miracle, but not every light is just random either. Some folks say it's only clouds reflecting city lights or a late sunset glow, an optical illusion caused by the mountain terrain and the clear skies in this area. But why does it move in a direction and keep that long shape like something hiding inside? Luke chapter 21 verse 25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea." If the Bible talks about signs up high, then people getting troubled by a mysterious beam of light, could that be something foretold? Revelation chapter 1 verse 7 declares, "Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him. And all the tribes of the earth will mourn because of him." Clouds have long been a symbol of divine presence, and when light hides within them, it reminds us that the sky isn't just empty space. It's also a place for messages beyond ordinary understanding. Whether it's a UFO, an atmospheric thing, or something else, that light's appearance still stirs a deep unease. We don't control everything up there. I believe God allows signs like this to appear as reminders of the promised return, that every light on the clouds carries a hidden warning. And if that hidden beam isn't the last mystery, then the strange drone structures coming in Oklahoma will make you ask, are we really ready for what's coming? 10. Strange object floating in the night sky. Midnight in Oklahoma. A glowing cube hovering silently up there. No noise, no trace. That's the sight that stunned thousands when the video spread fast. A pitch-black shape that seemed to swallow all the light around it, with slow flashing red and white lights on top, just hanging in the big Oklahoma City sky. If you were standing under that sky, you'd probably think it was only a drone or something way beyond what people can understand. The thing had a clear cube shape, sharp edges, and looked bigger than any regular drone you can buy. It moved all over the place in a jerky way, like it didn't care about wind or normal rules of motion. No engine sound, no airplane signal lights, just drifting quietly, then suddenly turning like it had its own mind. That total silence is what really made the night feel heavy. When something's moving up there, but the sky stays dead quiet, the feeling of being in control just vanishes. The book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 19 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood and fire and clouds of smoke." Those red and white lights on the cube aren't roaring flames, but they still bring to mind the colors of warning and judgment. If the wonders promised to show up high in the sky are really happening, are we seeing more than just some tech thing? Some people say it's only a test drone, maybe military or from a private company, and in today's world, that sounds like it could be true. But if it's just a flying gadget, why the strange big size, the wild movements, and those odd light colors? Matthew chapter 24, verse 29 says, "Right after those terrible days, the sun will go dark, the moon won't give light, stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken." When folks see weird motion up high, the fear doesn't come from the shape. It's from sensing the usual order is starting to shake. Luke chapter 21, verse 26 warns, "People will be terrified, waiting for what's coming on the earth, because the powers of the heavens will be shaken." What's really worth noticing isn't just what the object is, but how people respond: fear, arguing, confusion, waiting. When the worry spreads faster than the thing itself, maybe the message isn't in what it looks like, it's in waking something up inside us. It might be a drone, it might be secret technology, but it could also be a nudge that God can use our tech-filled time to point out the last signs. If back then the signs were clouds of fire and pillars of smoke, today it might be man-made lights in the dark night sky. Not just a sign anymore, but a statement that the big moment is getting near. And if this really is the end of the line for these strange happenings, the last question isn't "what is it?" but when the final time truly comes, where will you stand in the judgment that's already been declared? When we look back at all 10 of these strange signs, they don't seem like separate, random things anymore. Instead, they're coming together into one big picture right in front of humanity. From snow falling in a dry desert, the ocean glowing in the dark night, to a fire pit that never stops burning, and lights floating up in the clouds, everything feels like it's saying the same thing. Nature isn't just quietly doing its thing anymore. It's crying out, shaking, and stirring people's hearts. And in the middle of all this shaking, the question isn't "what's going on?" anymore. It's, are we listening? Romans chapter 8, verse 22 says, "We know that the whole creation has been groaning, as in the pains of childbirth, right up to the present time. When the ground shakes, the seas roar, fires burn, and strange signs appear in the sky." Those words from the Bible ring out with real depth. Creation isn't just groaning because of natural changes, it's because a very serious moment is drawing near, when everything will be revealed and final justice will be set in place. From the fire in the desert to the lights over the ocean, from clouds hiding mysterious beams to structures hanging in the night sky, all of it turns our eyes upward. Matthew chapter 24, verse 42 reminds us, "Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come." This isn't just good advice anymore. It's a wake-up call. The end times don't come with loud trumpets first. They come with these strange signs that make us stop and question ourselves. If what we're seeing is just natural events, they still remind us how small and fragile our lives really are. But if these are spiritual warnings, then every day that passes is a chance to turn back, get our hearts right, and repair our connection with the Creator. The end times aren't just the end of the physical world. They're also the beginning of judgment and everlasting glory. Leave a prayer or a sincere thought of your own in the comments below. It could be asking for peace for your family, a word of repentance, or just the simple words, "Help me stay awake." When we pray together, we're not alone anymore in all this world shaking. If these messages touch you, please hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any reminders on the road ahead. Thank you for staying with me to the end, and I pray the Lord keeps you and your family safe, protected, and steady through every storm. Amen. Are we walking into the very last days without even realizing it? In the past few years, the sky is no longer quiet. It tears through the darkness with swirling spirals of light, pours down over rolling waves of clouds like an upside-down ocean, shoots out bright streaks that rip across the sky and then suddenly change direction. Clouds swell up as if they're breathing. Spiraling objects crawl down from high above. A sharp line splits the sky into bright and dark halves. Pillars of fire burst up in the freezing cold. Flocks of birds form perfect, almost eerie shapes. Glowing orbs quietly patrol. Everything is coming fast, piling on top of each other, like an invisible hand is pressing hard on the gas pedal of time. Do you ever wonder, is this just coincidence or a warning? If these signs were foretold thousands of years ago, if the sky is really speaking, then the only question left is, how much time do we have? End quote. Come along with me now as we dig deeper to find the truth behind those curtains. And before we start, please leave a prayer in the comments below as a way to show your faith in the Lord. Amen. Now, so you don't have to wait, let's jump right in with 1. A mysterious spiral of light tears open the sky over Quetta and Pakistan. God is calling humanity's name. A huge spiral of light suddenly ripped through the night sky in Quetta, and in that moment, we knew some nights are no longer ordinary. Hundreds of people looked up at the same time, phones buzzing in their hands as a bright silver-white beam exploded into the pitch-black darkness, spinning perfectly like it was drawn by an invisible, all-powerful hand. The video spread like wildfire on social media right away. Up on the Balochistan plateau, used to strong winds and mountain clouds, that light didn't just flash and disappear like a shooting star. It curled into a giant spiral, miles wide, slowly turning quietly like a glowing snake sliding through the air. Everything around went dead silent, with only that steady, majestic motion that took your breath away. Its shadow stretched long across the Rocky Mountains, turning the ground into a haunting, dreamlike picture. Matthew 24-29 once warned, right after those days of trouble, the sun will go dark, the moon won't give light, stars will fall from the sky, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. As that spiral hung there in the air, those Bible words weren't just on the page anymore. They rang out like an alarm bell in the night. Tiny rays broke off from the main light, flashing like electric sparks before joining back into the swirl, making it feel strangely alive. People ran out into the streets, some totally freaked out, others strangely calm, just quietly praying, like they knew whatever was spinning up there came from somewhere beyond. The hardest thing to explain wasn't how fiercely it burned, but the complete silence while it turned, like a giant finger drawing a sign across the sky. Acts 2:19 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and clouds of smoke." And Joel 2:30 goes on, "I will display wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke." Could this quiet spiral pillar of light in the dark night be that very image playing out right now for our generation? A lot of folks say it was just rocket exhaust freezing high up, spun into a spiral by centrifugal force. But others push back with questions like, why no official announcement at all? And how was the shape so perfect? Not off by an inch, holding steady for minutes without breaking apart. The more you try to explain it, the more mysterious it gets. This wasn't just some technical glitch in the sky. It's an opening sign, a message written in light. If that spiral was the first bell ringing in the dark, the real question left is, now that the sky has started moving like this, what else is going to get written up there in the days ahead? 2. Rolling cloud sea over eastern Ontario, Canada, shaken by the fury of the sky. A man in southern Ontario looked up because the sky suddenly got dark in the middle of the afternoon, and what he saw left him frozen in place. The whole sky above, stretching all the way to Quebec, wasn't clouds anymore. It looked like a rough ocean turned upside down and hanging there. No clear horizon, no familiar shapes, just thick rolling masses like waves rising right over your head. The Great Lakes region often sees cold air from the Arctic clashing with warm air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, creating complicated storm systems. But this time, instead of a regular thunderstorm, the sky got pressed into clear layers of waves, curving, overlapping, like the whole ocean got frozen solid thousands of feet up. Sunlight slipped through the gaps in sharp, cold streaks, making the whole scene look like the bottom of the sea glowing from above. The thick cloud masses went from steel gray to deep black, with huge swells spreading out for miles, constantly pushing against each other like force. 1-2 waves held frozen just before they crashed down. Ground videos show the surface moving slow but steady, like something alive breathing. Imagine standing under that sea. Would you really believe it's just normal weather? Luke 21:25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea." When the sea isn't below our feet anymore, but shows up overhead, those words stop being just a picture. It feels like a record coming true through clouds and wind. People quickly split into two groups. Weather experts call it asperitas clouds, a rare type, officially recognized in 2017, formed by strong wind shear between atmospheric layers. But a lot of regular folks admit they felt uneasy and worried, in a way that's hard to explain, like they were seeing something beyond the usual natural cycle. Meanwhile, many believers stayed remarkably calm. They didn't panic or yell. They prayed and reminded each other that everything was foretold. Matthew 24:7 says, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places." Nature shaking isn't separate from the bigger picture of a world heading into a time of judgment. Revelation 8-5 records, "The angel took the censer, filled it with fire from the altar, and hurled it on the earth. And there came peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake." When the sky rolls like an angry ocean, it's not just weather, it's creation itself, testifying, showing that earth and heaven are responding exactly as prophesied long ago. If the sea can hang suspended over people's heads, how close is the line between order and judgment? When that cloud sea finally breaks up, the question doesn't disappear with it. Was this just the first warning before the real storm that's waiting ahead? 3. Strange lights cutting across the sky? Meteor shower? Or something else? The man just wanted to film a regular meteor shower, but his camera suddenly caught hundreds of weird bright streaks ripping through the night sky, perfectly straight at first, then suddenly bending like they had a mind of their own. Not 1 or 2 or 10, but thick, like a whole organized grid of light moving above him. What would you think if those stars didn't keep falling, but stopped in midair and changed direction on purpose? Normal meteor showers follow clear paths. Space rocks slam into the atmosphere at tens of thousands of miles per hour, burn up, and leave short, bright trails. But this time, that rule was completely broken. Some streaks dove down, then slowed, turned sideways, even looped back into perfect arcs like drawn with a compass. No long, fiery tails, no fading in a couple seconds. They stayed steady and bright, like controlled strips of moving lights. His hands were shaking as he zoomed in, and on the screen you could see the bright dots, keeping even spacing. No crashing, no mess. It didn't feel like watching mindless space rocks anymore. It felt like a silent formation of lights on patrol. Matthew 24:29 says, "The stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken." When those points of light stopped following free-fall paths, those words hit different, like a reminder that the sky isn't just empty space. Some people watching said it could be commercial satellites or space junk reflecting sunlight, especially those strings of low-orbit satellites. Science says the angle, the height, and how our eyes see things can make motion look strange. Those explanations make sense, and they help us understand how the physical universe works. But the Bible opens another layer. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful sights and great signs from heaven. Science answers, what's happening? Faith asks, what is it warning about? When strange sky events pile up and look unusual, they're not just astronomy, they're signs of a bigger shift coming. Acts 2:19 says, I will show wonders in heaven above. End quote. Those straight lines, strange arcs, and what looked like purposeful movement might still fit the laws of physics, but they could also be a message about the time we're living in. Faith doesn't deny satellites or meteors. Faith looks through them to see the bigger picture of what's ahead. If those streaks were just things passing in orbit, they'd soon be gone from sight. But if they're great signs from heaven, they're reminding us time isn't just drifting along forever. When the sky starts moving in ways that make people stop and wonder, maybe that's when faith wakes up. And if those lights aren't just meteors, what are they getting ready for? 4. A strange black cloud hovering over a Canadian lake? A living thing from the sky? A black cloud just hangs there right above the lake surface. It doesn't break up. It doesn't drift with the wind at all. It stays put like a living mass, separate from the blue sky far off, swelling up and then shrinking back in this eerie quiet. What do you think it really is? A couple on vacation by a big lake in Canada was only a few dozen yards from that dark shape. The water below it was calm as a mirror. The cloud had an odd, uneven shape, thick like smoke pouring from some invisible chimney, but it stayed just a few dozen feet above the lake. It didn't stretch out into a long strip. It wasn't connected to the clouds higher up. It just hung there all by itself, like something suspended in midair. From what they saw, the edges of the cloud kept pushing out and then pulling back in, almost like something inside was pressing pressure from the center outward. The deep black color soaked up nearly all the light, throwing the area right underneath into sudden shadow, even though sunshine was still everywhere else. Joel 2:30 says, I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. A thick, pitch-black cloud hanging over the water like a smoke column isn't just some weird thing to look at. It hints that the sky might start showing signs beyond what we're used to. Weather experts say it could be an isolated cloud formed from the cold lake water meeting warmer air above, or something like Mamata's clouds where pockets of cold air sink down. Science explains the air movement, density, and pressure. But those physical answers don't take away the uneasy feeling when the cloud seems to respond to its surroundings in its own rhythm. Revelation 9:2 says, He opened the bottomless pit, and smoke rose out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace, so that the sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke from the pit. When the light around the lake got swallowed up for a few minutes by that hovering black mass, those words feel like a reminder that darkness might mean more than just no light. It could point to something deeper. Nature isn't mindless. It reacts, it shakes, it shows itself in ways that sometimes make us stop and think. Maybe that cloud was just the result of temperature differences and unstable air currents. But it could also be a nudge that creation itself is groaning, waiting for the day of redemption. As more signs appear in the sky, are we really ready for what they might mean? If that black cloud was just a rare event, it'll fade into the past like so many others. But if it's one small sign in a chain of things foretold long ago, then the question isn't, what is it anymore? It's, what do we do next? And if one day the darkness doesn't just hover over a lake, but spreads across the whole sky, how will humanity face it? 5. Thousands of birds twist and turn into strange shapes in the Italian sky, an invisible hand guiding the way. Thousands of birds suddenly covered the sky over a market in Italy. They swirled and twisted into such exact shapes that folks standing below couldn't tell anymore what was pure instinct and what was some unseen command. No siren, no signal, but in just a few seconds, the whole sky became a moving stage, perfectly in sync, and every single person there went quiet, just watching. The murmuration of European starlings is something researchers already know about, but this time, the size was way bigger than anything ever recorded. From a couple hundred feet above those old rooftops, the flock made a perfect circle, then squeezed it into an isosceles triangle, then stretched it out into a long sine wave hundreds of yards across. Every change of shape took only a few seconds. Not one bird got out of step, like the whole flock was one single living thing with the same nervous system. Shoppers lifted their heads, baskets dropped onto the stone pavement, whispers spread all across the square. One thing gave a lot of people chills. Right in the middle of all those shapes, the birds suddenly formed a clear heart for just a moment, then broke apart instantly into an arrow pointing straight toward the horizon. There wasn't any sound or strong wind shift to explain how they all switched together so perfectly. Matthew 24-28 says, "Wherever there is a carcass, there the vultures will gather." In the Bible, birds coming together isn't only animal behavior, it's also a sign of a time that's already set. When thousands of little creatures turn as one, like they've been called, you can't help thinking about a much bigger gathering still to come. Scientists say each bird just watches the 6 or 7 closest ones next to it. That creates these complex patterns through aerodynamics and staying safe from predators. Computer models show only a few simple rules can make those amazing shapes. But what rule made the heart show up exactly when the crowd below was looking up, then turn right into a clear arrow, like a signal? Jeremiah 8-7 says, "Even the stork in the sky knows its seasons. The turtle dove, the swift, and the thrush observe the time of their coming, but my people do not know the law of the Lord." If birds know precisely when to gather and change course, maybe they're tuned to a timing rhythm most people don't notice. The Bible doesn't deny natural instinct. It shows creation runs on a bigger plan than human history. The flock didn't fly off right away. It kept changing shapes for more than 10 minutes, like it was repeating a message with its movements. Maybe the invisible hand of the Creator is gently reminding us that time doesn't just drift along, and everything has its own season. When the sky dances with thousands of tiny wings, perhaps history itself is getting ready for a much bigger turn. The birds finished their dance and faded into the sunset, but the feeling still lingers on those rooftops and in the hearts of everyone who saw it. If that wasn't just instinct, if it was a sign, then the next dance won't be up in the Italian sky anymore. It'll be right in the flow of all humanity. 6. Those swollen clouds look like they're breathing, the mystery from Europe that has the whole world amazed. The sky over Europe suddenly changed, looking like a giant chest taking breaths. Round, puffy pouches of cloud hung down from the main cloud layer, making drivers pull over right there in the middle of green fields. In just a few minutes, the peaceful scene turned into something out of a dream, where the sky wasn't flat and still anymore, but moving in and out with a clear rhythm. The cloud pockets dropped down hundreds of feet, their surfaces smooth and dark like stretched rubber, shaking gently with strong winds up high. Each pouch would swell out, then shrink back over cycles that lasted several minutes, giving the feeling that something alive was working overhead. Standing under it, you could hear the wind whistling through the gaps and really feel the air pressure changing around you. This is known as mammatus clouds. They usually show up under big thunderstorm bases when cold air sinks down. But this time, they spread out over miles and lasted more than 30 minutes, with dozens of pouches pulsing together like a heartbeat. On social media, the pictures spread like wildfire. Some folks said they saw monster shapes hiding in there. Others called it the sky's breathing. Joel 2:33-1 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. The sun will turn dark, and the moon will turn to blood." Those dark cloud pouches blocked the light, turning the whole countryside a heavy gray. making lots of people think of those ancient signs from thousands of years ago. People who saw it reacted in different ways. Some got worried and hurried back to their cars, afraid a big storm was coming. They looked up like they were seeing the start of something awful. Others just stood there quietly, filming and praying, believing every change is under the Creator's control. The different reactions didn't change what was up there, but they showed how people face something they don't fully understand. Revelation 6:12 says, "I watched as the Lamb opened the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red." Those descriptions of a darkened, shaking sky aren't meant to scare us, but to warn that nature can carry a message. Weather experts explain that cold air sinking creates these bulging pouches. It's just normal physics. That's true for how they form. Still, the way they appeared all at once, lasted so long, and shook people up so much, made many feel this was more than just regular weather. Even with the science explanation, those swollen cloud pouches made the world stop and look. If the wonders in the sky are signs of bigger changes coming, then every time the sky breathes hard like that, it's a reminder. As the pouches slowly flattened and the light came back, the question that stayed wasn't how they formed, but whether we're ready for whatever bigger movements might be ahead. 7. Object like a giant twisted rope coming down from the American sky. A silent invader or a wake-up call? A long, thin object, twisted like a huge rope, quietly came drifting down from high clouds on a calm afternoon in the US. We only noticed it when it was right there in front of us. Everything was so quiet and strange, with a steady, patient movement that felt like it had a purpose of its own. A woman sitting in her backyard looked up and saw this thing stretching hundreds of feet, twisting evenly from top to bottom, like something invisible was turning it. The top part was thinner, the main body thicker and darker against the sky, gently curving in a perfect spiral but not pushed off course by the wind. No smoke coming out, no pieces falling, just a dark rope connecting the high clouds to lower sky, holding its shape for several minutes. When the camera zoomed in, the motion looked like a living thing sliding down, smooth, no jerks, no breaks. The feeling that a boundary between sky and ground was being pierced made a lot of people shiver. Acts 2:19 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens above." Signs appearing in the middle of the sky don't always come with loud noises. Sometimes they're quiet, lasting long enough to make people really look. A spiraling object coming down like a living rope is something that's hard to just turn away from. On social media, the debate exploded. Some said it was airplane contrails twisted by high-level wind shear, or maybe a weather balloon leaking gas and falling in a spiral path. Those ideas are based on real aerodynamics and could happen under the right conditions. But the question people kept asking most was, why did it hold that even twist and slide down so slowly instead of breaking apart? Revelation 9:1-2 says, "The fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. It opened the abyss, and smoke rose from it." The picture in the Bible of something opening from above down to the earth isn't just a figure of speech. It's a warning that spiritual things can't stay hidden forever. When the sky shows structures linking two realms, a lot of folks can't help thinking about the invisible breaking into the visible world. The event might be explained by atmospheric science, but the feeling it left behind goes beyond a natural experiment. Some people got scared and hurried inside, locking doors like they were avoiding something about to touch down. Others just stood there, quietly praying, believing everything happens with God's permission. That difference shows how we each face things we can't control. Whether it was swirling smoke or a balloon, the image of that rope coming down from the sky is still a strong wake-up call that the heavens aren't always still. If signs from above are showing up more often, we need to stay alert to what they really mean. And if that rope really is a crack between two worlds, the last question is, what's waiting on the other end? 8. The sky split in two, one side bright, one side dark, a line of light cutting right across the whole sky. The sky split in two. That moment made a lot of folks just stop in their tracks. Like the world had slipped off its usual track and we suddenly realized this wasn't just any normal afternoon anymore. Right there in the park, with sunshine still falling on the paths, a sharp, cold line sliced straight across the sky, dividing everything into two opposite halves. One side glowing golden like fire, the other dark and heavy like night, hadn't even gotten its name yet. The guy holding his phone had a slight shake in his hand, and when you watch that video again, it's hard to deny the feeling that something big is being shown to us. That dividing line was so clear, it looked like you could measure it with a ruler. It stretched for miles through the clouds. No bleeding, no blurring, no soft fade like you see in regular weather changes. It felt more like a clean cut than some random thing happening by chance, almost as if the sky had turned into a curtain that somebody tore open to reveal two parallel realities side by side. Some folks joked online, calling it a glitch in the matrix. But underneath the laughs, there was this long pause of silence, the kind your soul feels before your mind gets a chance to speak up. Matthew 24-29 says, "The sun will be darkened, the moon won't give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken." Those words aren't just talking about changes in the sky. They point to a shaking of the order we always thought was rock solid. When light and darkness stand right next to each other without mixing, maybe it's a reminder that the time of separation is closer than we think. Weather experts say this could be a split sky thing, where a thick cloud bank blocks the sun and makes a sharp edge of contrast. That explanation sounds reasonable, but it still leaves you wondering why the cut is so razor sharp and why the difference feels like two pictures slapped together in a hurry. Science can explain the how, but it doesn't quite kill that gut feeling. This might be a sign going beyond plain old physics. Luke 21:25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be anxious and confused." Signs aren't just for looking at, they're for responding to. When the sky itself becomes the message, what people do next is what really decides what it all means. 2. That anxiety and confusion isn't just plain fear, it's realizing a line has been drawn. If this was the final judgment announced not with thunder, but with a quiet line of light, then the split between light and dark isn't a metaphor anymore. God doesn't just talk about separation in the Bible, He shows us a picture of it right overhead. And once the sky has been torn in two in front of everybody, what's left isn't arguing, it's choosing. Because once that line shows up clear in the sky, it's also being redrawn inside every person's heart. When light and dark stand side by side without blending, the story isn't about the phenomenon anymore. It's about which side we choose to stand on. And if the dividing has already started up high, then where do you think the next step happens? 9. Giant candle flame floating over Alaska ice. A doorway to another dimension. Giant candle flame floating over Alaska ice, a sight that stops a lot of folks in their tracks because of its quiet, holy feeling that's hard to put into words. And maybe when you see that moment, the first thing you feel isn't fear, it's respect. Out in the wide, white wilderness of Alaska, where the temperature can drop way below zero, a tall column of light shoots straight up into the sky, like a giant candle lit in the middle of an icy desert. It doesn't blaze wildly, it just sways gently. Thousands of tiny ice crystals catch the sunlight and make a shimmering, living flame that almost doesn't seem real. A group of tourists stood quietly in that huge open space, miles around them empty. Right in front of them was this towering pillar of light, reaching up toward the clouds, moving softly with each cold gust of wind. The light didn't spread out, it held together in a clear shape, wide at the bottom, narrowing toward the top. exactly like a candle burning quietly in the sky. The whole scene made everything around it feel different, like the sky had turned into the dome of some enormous cathedral, and that pillar of light was the lamp guiding anyone lost in the last great wilderness of our time. Exodus 13:21 says, "The Lord went ahead of his people in a pillar of cloud by day to guide them, and in a pillar of fire by night to give them light," so they could travel day and night. The pillar of fire isn't new to the Bible. It's a sign of God's presence and guidance. When a bright column lights up in the middle of Alaska's snow and ice, that old spiritual memory wakes up again. It connects the ancient Sinai desert with people today who are trying to find their way through all the chaos. Scientists call this a light pillar. It happens when light reflects off ice crystals hanging in very cold air. That explanation tells the physical side of it, but it doesn't take away the powerful symbol when the pillar takes the exact shape of a candle, swaying like it has a life of its own. In a world that's changing so fast, this picture goes beyond weather science and touches something deeper, where symbols and faith come together. Revelation 10:1 says, "I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, wrapped in a cloud, with a rainbow over his head, his face like the sun, and his feet like pillars of fire." Those words aren't just about power. They point to the pillar of fire as a sign of heaven stepping in. When you see that bright column floating over the white ice, a lot of people can't help thinking the old images are being shown again in a way our generation can actually see with their own eyes. As messengers, we take note of this, both with respect for science and with an open heart to the spiritual side. A column of light can be explained by ice crystals, but it can also be a quiet reminder that the one who guides has never left human history. If the pillar of fire once led through the desert, then maybe this giant candle over Alaska today is shining light on something in our journey right now. That flame is still floating there, burning without using up fuel, shining in the cold and silence. It might just be sunlight reflecting off ice, or it might be a sign that guidance is still coming through familiar symbols. And when a pillar of light appears in the wildest, emptiest place, the real question left isn't how it formed, it's where it's leading us. 10 bright orbs moving in a line across the Brisbane sky, a patrol team from outer space. Bright orbs lined up in the Brisbane sky. That sight left a lot of people stunned and speechless. And when you see that video spreading all over social media, don't you feel something almost sacred about it? In the quiet night over Brisbane, Australia, dozens of bright points suddenly showed up, moving in a perfect straight line like they were programmed, gliding across the sky for miles. Their lights blinked in rhythm, bright then soft, like eyes scanning the ground below. Folks stood on their porches, in parks, or in parking lots, everyone looking up, phones held high to catch every moment. Those orbs didn't scatter, didn't bump into each other, didn't suddenly change direction. They kept almost perfect spacing and moved at a steady speed, as if patrolling an invisible line. The sky we know so well suddenly became a huge screen showing a message in light, and the feeling of being watched got stronger than ever. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be fearful events and great signs from heaven." This Bible verse doesn't describe the exact shape or how it happens, but it stresses how scary and massive these signs will be. When dozens of bright orbs crossed the night sky together, that overwhelming feeling seemed to match exactly what great signs means, like a warning that came not with sound, but with light. A lot of people think it was Starlink satellites or rocket debris coming back into the atmosphere, something that's been seen before. That explanation makes sense technically, but what bothers many is the almost perfect timing and the orderly changing lights, giving the impression of an intentional formation. When it goes beyond the usual satellite passes we're used to, it opens the door to deeper questions about what the timing really means. Matthew 24-30 says, "Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then all the peoples of the